In 1971, the summer of 71, I had just graduated from high school. I had a brother that was a year older than me, and he was just returning home from his freshman year in college. And I got to talking to him, asking him about college, and come to find out he had taken a class on weightlifting. And I was very interested in that, and I asked him what he learned. And I don't remember all the things he told me, and I doubt seriously if the class was really that good, given that day and age when people didn't know a lot about this. But he told me one thing that stuck in my mind immediately and has been in my mind ever since. He said that he learned that you should do as many reps as you can and then do one more. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that you should get somebody to help you with another rep? That would be what we'd call a forced rep now. I don't think that's what he meant at all. This was my interpretation of what he told me, and I firmly believe that this has stayed in my mind and become a part of my lifting these 35 years that I've been doing it, and it's been a very important part of what I've done. What I interpret was, when your body says you can't do anymore, you convince your body to do one more. And this is what we now, in my program, we constantly refer to as the intensity of what we do. I feel that I am very, very fortunate to pick up on that at an early age when I first started lifting weights. I feel that that concept has been in my mind and has been a huge part of my success in what I've done with weightlifting, and hopefully what I pass on to other people. If you do a set correctly, if you're going to do 8 repetitions of an exercise and you do it correctly, I would argue that the 8th rep is as important, probably more important, than the other 7 reps put together. If you do 8 reps and do the 8th rep and you can still do 1 or 2 more, then I would argue that you did not get maximum benefit from that exercise. If you do 8 reps and finish your 8th rep and quit, and you could have done 4 or 5 more reps, I would argue that that exercise did little or nothing for you and was probably a waste of your time. I want to spend just a few minutes talking about steroids. First, you need to know that within our powerlifting team, we participate in an organization that tests for steroids and actually has a very good testing procedure for steroids. So everybody that lifts in our team is subject to steroid testing. I would also like to say that St. X as a school, I think, is taking a very strong stand against steroids. I firmly believe that we don't have any coaches at any level, on any sport, that would look the other way and let a kid take steroids because they thought it might benefit their program. I don't think that would happen. I think just the opposite would happen. If we had a kid that we thought was involved in steroids, we would probably exclude him from that sport and then hopefully help him with his problem. But beyond all that, beyond the fear of getting caught, okay, I would like to tell you that I think there's lots of good reasons not to choose steroids. First off, as a high school student, messing with your hormones. That's what you're doing when you're taking steroids. You're messing around with your hormone levels. You're confusing your body, and I think the result of taking steroids at an early age would be you not reaching your full potential as an athlete. It would prohibit you from doing that. And that's important, okay? But even more important than that, I really believe that the real sound reason to not use steroids is because of the danger involved. I absolutely believe that it can and probably will shorten the life of a user. I'm 53 years old. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've been doing it for over 30 years. At one point, I considered the use of steroids. I had enough sense to do some research, to do some reading, and at a certain point in my life, I decided, no, that's not the route I want to go. I have lifted all these years without any anabolic steroids, without any aid of any type of that sort. And as a result, I'm 53 years old, I'm having fun, I'm still lifting, I'm still competitive. I did the best lifting of my life when I was in my mid-40s. And so I'm convinced it's been a very, very good choice for me. But I'm also convinced that now that I know more about the history of my family and heart disease that runs in my family, problems with my brother, with my dad, I'm pretty convinced that if I had made the wrong choice many years ago, I think it would be very likely that I wouldn't be around today. The sport of powerlifting is in its 21st year here at St. X, which is, by the way, the number of years I've been here at St. X as a teacher. I introduced it back then because of my own experiences with powerlifting, which led me to believe that becoming competitive within weightlifting, which is what powerlifting is, competing in those lifts, led athletes to become more intense. And when they became more intense, that led to an increase in muscle growth. And I believe that increase in muscle growth almost always, in any sport, leads to greater athleticism. So powerlifting became, for us, a fun way, I hope, a fun way of becoming a better athlete. 21 years of this, and I am still as convinced as ever that this is very true, that it works like that. However, some things have changed over the years. There's a basic principle. There's a basic principle of weightlifting that says, now not everybody buys into this, but the basic principle says that if you lift hard enough, if your intensity is high enough, I'll keep going back to that word, if your intensity is high enough, then 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of an exercise may not be beneficial. It may not help at all. And as a matter of fact, it may hurt. It may hurt your progress. The basic principle is called high intensity training. And I've read quite a bit about this. I think I've always applied that principle to my own lifting somewhat. But a kind of interesting thing happened about 10 years ago. Besides teaching math here at St. X, I teach a elective phys ed class for juniors and seniors called Strength and Fitness. And we talk quite a bit about high intensity training. We do some reading of some people who have popularized this technique. And I got to thinking about it. Now, in my strength and fitness class, it was always a matter of we talk about techniques, we do different things, and eventually the students are supposed to write their own program and then implement that program on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the class period, which only gives them about 45 minutes to work out 3 days a week. And this has always worked pretty well. And at one point I decided, though, it might be a good idea for me to write that program. Let them write their own program, but then if they want to, they can choose to use the program that I give them. And right away I had 4, 5, 6 kids, usually about 15, 20, 25% of the kids elect to go that way and use my program. And it seemed to be pretty successful. It was based on powerlifting, on that competitiveness that we get by using the squat, bench, and deadlift, and also all the assistance exercises, but there was less of it. We did 1 set of most everything. We did do 2 sets of bench press, and we played with that, and we had some very good success. In the meanwhile, I was competing, and I was going to a national meet every year, and when I came back from a national meet one year, I was kind of worn out and tired, and took a little bit of time off, but I can't stand to take too much time off, so I wanted to get back into it, but I didn't want to go back and use the same program I was using before. I just made a decision, just to play a little bit, to use this program I'd set up for the strength and fitness class, a program that would only take 45 minutes to an hour, 3 days a week. And I started using that program, and I used it for a while, and my progress was good, so I continued to use it. And basically, I use that program, have been using that program ever since, with slight variations here and there. But I've used that same principle, less sets, less reps than I'd ever done before, less work than I'd ever done before. And I think the result was, because I had made that choice to do less, my intensity was higher than it has ever been. And I absolutely did the best lifting of my life using that program. When I was 44, 45 years old, I hit the best lifts of my life when I was supposed to be going the other way. Okay, I was in a master's program. Master's programs are for people who are supposed to be over hills, supposed to be going the other way. I was doing the best lifting of my life. I believe that this program worked better for me than anything else I had ever done. It's a quality instead of quantity type of principle. It's become pretty popular among a lot of people. When Arnold used to be the top bodybuilder, years ago, Arnold and his buddies, they used to train 30, 40 hours a week. Right now, some of the top bodybuilders train 3 to 4 hours a week. Arnold was very good. These guys are very good. They're better than Arnold. Of course, that's kind of the nature of sports. Things get better as you go on. But my big argument is this. If we can do this, if we can get these kind of results with less time in the weight room to give you more time to do other things, maybe practice the skills of your sport, maybe just to be a kid, just to have fun, okay? If we can do this in less time and get similar results, the same, better, similar, who knows, whether it's absolutely the ultimate program, okay? But if we can get similar results with less work, then this has got to be a good plan. Here's what we've really found about this program. Okay, we go back 15, 20 years ago, and we had our athletes doing twice the workload, okay? First off, our teams the last 4 years have been the best 4 years ever. They've been the best athletes, the best teams ever. We've won the last 4 teenage national championships, so our athletes are better, and they're doing it with less work, and maybe more important than that, is they're not getting burnt out. They're enjoying the program, they have the energy to do it year-round, and as a result, their results are better, and we are turning out, I think, the best athletes we've ever had with this program. Of course, we need to realize that this program, with much, much less work, is contingent on us doing high-intensity training. But I would also argue that it doesn't matter whether you're doing 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, whether you spend 45 minutes in the weight room or 3 hours in the weight room, unless you learn to push yourself very hard, then your results are going to be minimal at best.